Ooh. What's up, boys? I've gotten into a couple of discussions in the last 2 to 3 days about carrying implements that are not firearms for the purpose of self-defense. And while I have shown multiple times my EDC and what I like to carry, I'm going to go over a couple other options and explain maybe some things and why I do or do not like them as options. Again, this is made for informative infotainment, if you will. Nothing that I say is construed as legal advice. Please contact an attorney if you don't know the legality of specific items in your region and or area. All of these items that I will be demonstrating are legal to own and, in some instances, carry where I reside. So, that being said, let's get into our first couple of options. A lot of people keep things like these, any sort of bat, club, mace, pipe, or things of that nature. Some people keep these types of implements in their vehicle. I want to say this is a slippery slope. This should not be taken super seriously. In most jurisdictions, in most places in the country, if you have a bat, your trunk, or in your vehicle while you are traveling around doing your business, then you can be charged with carrying a weapon. So be careful with bats, clubs, maces, sticks, tonfas. This is just a 𝚂𝚑𝚋𝚋𝚜𝚌 or 𝚂𝚑𝚋𝚋𝚜 sticks. Again, anything that could be used to beat, bludgeon, or club somebody. This is just carrying a weapon around. So be careful keeping these implements anywhere outside of your home. Another often, well, maybe this is my age showing, but a thing that was super popular in the 90s and in Bud-K catalogs when I was a child were Kubotan's. Any sort of small, there it is. Right here we've got a glow-in-the-dark Kubotan that I got from CountyCon. I just use it to keep all my bump keys on it. And this is one of those tactical, fancy impact pens. This can be an option if you're going into an area in which you cannot carry a firearm, and this could be used as the step between ordinary force and deadly force. I don't necessarily love this as an option. Yes, some of these pens are just pens with carbide glass breakers, so they have additional function. This is a cheap Amazon one, but it does have a pressurized cartridge and a carbide window break. But you could also, so they can be considered weapons. I'd say this is a potential if you don't have the ability to carry a firearm. It could be a good middle ground. However, again, that's stripping away everything. You would usually only carry something like this if you don't have access to a pepper spray / mace, a flashlight even. Any striking implements should be left to those who have significant training in hand-to-hand and or combatives. So, Kubotans, anything small, approximately 6 inches of rigid plastic or metal. And while I'm talking about it, let's head right to particulate dispensing devices. So OC, mace, whatever you want to call it. These are the Palm OC. This one in a pocket clip model. This one has a little disconnector so you can link it to your keys. Both of these have covered caps / buttons, so you press the cap up and depress on the plunger and it sprays out. This, I think, is a great option for a lot of people, especially women who do not want to carry a firearm, or again, if you're going into an area where you are limited from carrying a firearm, but you need a distance or intermediate distance option. Pepper spray in some areas can be frowned upon as well. Most places, this is 100% good to go. Check your local laws, obviously. James Reeves actually just did a video about pepper spray. You should check that video out. I'm not going to link it, but the dude's a lawyer, so you should check that video out. Flashlights. This might be my favorite option, strictly just because you have a distance creating barrier effect at night, basically remove somebody's visual field, as well as most of these have crenulated bezels or some sort of, if you put one of these 𝚂𝚑𝚌𝚗 switchbacks on there, where you can grasp and use it as a striking tool. It's a pain compliance / visual compliance tool as well. and almost nobody's ever blinded somebody. You know, hey, what are you doing? You light them up in a parking lot. Like, I'm looking for my keys. What, dude? Stop. You know, no harm, no foul. I do recommend people keeping a weapon light on their firearm if they do carry one. However, keeping a secondary standby, either 18650 or dual cell, high lumen, high candela, high output flashlight for those specific reasons. Some of them have pocket clips. You can hook them onto your hat. You can use it as a headlamp. If you can't carry something like that, you could do maybe a pen light. This could be used in a similar way, just you're not having all that bright light. These are still totally viable. This one was $3 at Walmart, and it works just fine. So obviously choosing your options and what you're going to be needing versus where you're going. If you're going to be outside, maybe take a flashlight. If you're not going to be outside, but you're still going to be in a dark area, buildings or things of that nature, great option to take a flashlight. Probably the only one that I ever truly suggest outside of pepper spray. And lastly, I want to go over pocket knives, because in almost all instances, despite this being a OTF, this is my new Microtech Scarab 2. So fucking big, I can barely fit it all in frame. In almost all instances, knives are illegal to carry in terms of self-defense, or for purposes of self-defense. In a lot of places, things like stilettos, OTFs, dirks, daggers, punch daggers, small blades are considered weapons, not considered tools. You can use a tool as a weapon. You can hit somebody with a hammer and it becomes a weapon. However, if it is off the jump or out of the box, considered to be a weapon, then you're starting from a negative place. In an instance where you are clinched up and you cannot draw a firearm, then it might be a good backup. But that's only in the instance in which your hand-to-hand skills have failed you and you absolutely have a knife within your reach that your firearm isn't in reach of. So, knives are cool, but you should probably have training, and if you're knife fighting, you're probably going to get stuck. So your hand-to-hand, your BJJ, your wrestling, grappling, hand-to-hand fist fighting skills should be competent well before you're carrying a knife or a bladed, edged implement. And finally, obviously a firearm. Good option, but in certain instances, lethal force isn't necessary, and some of these can give you options that the firearm cannot. Even displaying firearms can be a felony in certain instances. If use of force is not necessary, you really should only be pulling a firearm if you are an immediate threat of loss of life or limb. So having some of these options open to you can open a lot of doors, and you know, again, I'm going to steal the idea from James, but using pepper spray instead of a firearm if a dog were to attack you can keep you from getting hemmed up. So don't discount some of these options, completely forget some of the others, and yeah, carry a friggin' flashlight, guys. There's a reason. Like, it's a great intermediate gap between a gun and a knife, or a gun and getting mauled. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Catch you in the next one. Peace. We will be back at the range shortly, doing a big video about that, but yeah, nothing fancy. All right.